I guess I do get to say I told you so. Go me! Who would have thunk the character with his eyes closed and the and the voice actor who always does scumbags would turn out to be the guy who poisons everyone? Who would have thunk it? So today we are breaking down the last episode of the Brilliant Healer's New Life in the Shadows. I'm hoping we get a season 2, but we'll see. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to drop a like, show your support, consider subscribing if you're new around here, and yes, Patreon, full live reactions and other exclusives over there. Let's jump into this. So, I guess I get to say I told you so, but a blind man could have seen that old Becker, he was sus from day one. Now granted, he wasn't quite as sus as I thought he was gonna be, but he still turned out sus. But I mean, any character who refuses to open their eyes and is voiced by him, I will never trust you. The track record kind of speaks for themselves. Typically, this VA gets questionable bastard at best. Now, what was interesting is how they both, made him irredeemable and then redeemable all at the same time. Because as they're building in, you're like, oh, okay, yeah, I get why he wanted to kill this guy, right? With everything that happened to his fiance, totally get it. But, there's 30 innocent people you killed too. Or were trying to. And then they give the out when they're like, hey, I never planned to poison everyone. I was going to poison him and make him think everyone else was poisoned, but I was going to prove a point. And when he realized that, it wasn't a simple sleeping drug like he initially planned, and that it was seemingly someone else, which, was the Afreed character, right? It was very clear he's the one who did the overall poison. He's like, I could have stopped it there, but I didn't because all I cared about was revenge. So it makes it so it still remains questionable because at the end of the day, he still was willing to put multiple people's lives in danger, all for revenge's sake. But at the same time, by not making him the one to have poisoned everyone, it gives him the way out of okay, so they're kind of giving him a slap on the wrist, but they're not imprisoning him. Because for me, I was like, it doesn't matter how emotionally unstable and tragic your life was, poisoning the innocent people, there's no coming out from that. You need to be fired, fined, and probably thrown in jail. So I like what they did, because not only does it make you say, okay, we were naturally suspicious of this guy for a long time. Most people were. There was some people throughout watching this arc where why would you be suspicious of him? I honestly thought the things that he's cured over the years he invented, because he just seems sus as hell. Turns out, no, he really was a decent guy overall, but the show naturally wanted you to be suspicious. Anime production committees know what they're doing when they cast this man for a VA role. 9 out of 10 times. Not to mention the art style that this guy had going on, he never... I think the only exception to a character not opening their eyes is probably Brock from Pokemon, and even then, he's an overly perverted character, so I don't even think he's safe from the allegations of not trusting characters who close their eyes all the time. But I like what they did. I think they tied everything they needed to in this arc fairly well in terms of not only setting up future plot points like this Afreed character who they seemingly are saying isn't him, but his body is being used as a vessel for whatever demonic spirit or entity is doing what he's doing. So that's clearly going to be a long-term play, or maybe it'll just be a single arc, I don't know. They end the episode interestingly enough. I'm not sure if it's a tease for a next arc or if it was a nice callback, because the girl who comes in after the silent montage as the credits are playing is the first girl we saved who was a slave, and we're like, oh shit, here we go again, slavery in these shows, and then he was like, no, you're good, girl, scamper off. So I'm not sure if that was just a fun little callback, or if we got a season 2, if they would immediately kickstart and she would have an arc going. But either way, really enjoyed this. It's not the overall best healer anime I've seen, but it's one that I would recommend easily and would gladly watch a season 2. I felt like they touched on everything they needed to. Yes, did every character get 10 out of 10 character development? No, this is 12 episodes out of, potentially a 100 episode story for how long the author might, take a series like this. So hopefully over the course of the entire story, many would get developed. But for a first season, I think they tied up what they needed to. It felt like it rewarded my skepticism for Becker, because I was like, this guy's got to be bad. And technically he was bad, but he wasn't as bad as I was initially thinking. So I both got a little bit of a twist, but also got kind of like that, haha, I told you so reaction, which, like I said, I don't think I'm special for being skeptical on this guy. I think 70% of the watchers were skeptical too, because, like I said, blind man can see. But it was concerning because throughout that whole thing, I'm like, you poisoned everyone, bruh. And then it's like, oh wait, no, he only wanted to put him to sleep. Well, then how would that explain that? And it felt like it made you concerned, it made you skeptical, it made you say, yeah, he is a bastard. But then you're like, oh, when it's all said and done, the right guy got imprisoned. It's kind of funny when you think about Goldrun, though, because he's like, I'm not gonna pay you. And he's like, all right, chief. Like, our boy Deadass looked at him and said, you're a scumbag, but I'll do anything for money. Do you got this? I don't know what he showed him, but I'm gonna assume it was probably like 100 grand or something. Like, I doubt he asked for like the equivalent of $1 million, but it was probably like 100 grand. This man probably had to give his life savings, got his entire existence was, I'm going to do whatever it takes to stay in top of like my power. And in the last 20 years of his life, is now gonna spend it behind bars. Couldn't have happened to a better person. Great stuff overall. Like, I really enjoyed this arc. I did see a lot of criticisms about this arc. It seemed like a lot of people's issues was like, oh, we didn't have as much as of the girls, right? And I think they were fun characters. I think they served their purpose, and I'm sure they will, you know, have stuff in the future. But I actually like that they pushed them to the side and actually just did something different. And I mean, the way they ultimately solved what happened here, I thought was so clever, because I think we're all just expecting our boy to come in, cast some crazy healing spell, and they'd all be fine. No, he did a basic healing spell. And he's like, I'll just do a battle of endurance. And he basically was like, I'm gonna wait for their body to fight it off and be able to heal. But in order to do that, like, you'd have to keep that spell going for so long. That's not how this spell is used. And he's like, that's how I'm using it. I think it's the perfect representation that, at the end of the day, Xenos was both special and not special. He just thought outside the box, and if more people in this world thought like him, I think healers would be even more competent than they already are. Like, not to say like they're not talented, but they're so restricted with a certain way of thinking of how things have to be when guys like him exist and are just completely revolutionizing the medical field in this world. Definitely a lot to explore with the season 2. I don't believe they've confirmed one. I could be mistaken, but either way, if they made one, I would gladly watch a season 2. I had a lot of fun. I've been saying it ever since the wrong way to use healing magic aired. I think the idea of healing magic is one of the most untapped and underutilized magical type anime stories that you could do, because you can do so many creative things with it, and I think a series like this just adds to that thought that I've had. So yeah, I'm excited for more if they give it, but if this is where they leave us off, I'll leave a happy camper. Let me know your thoughts down below. What did you think? Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new around here, ring that bell, and yes, Patreon for live reactions and other exclusives like, hey, I give a video shout out to all of my patrons. So today we got Chorus, Project 7, Emma K-Pop, Sandra N, 0451 Jim, Mobida, Feather, The Lyrical G, Himiao Toga, and we also have Misto Dreamer. So I appreciate the support, everyone. Please take care, and you'll have a good one.